Hello everybody, it's me, Farham, and today we're here talking about rarity stacking in PoE2. So I've got a build guide, it's in the description. I'm not going to spend too long talking about the build, because the build basically just follows everyone around and provides them with lots of rarity. What we are going to talk about today is how to set up the atlas, what type of maps to use, and really how you actually make these things make a profit. Because what you might have found is if you're running with a rarity stacker, there's two of you, the map's not set up properly, it's not actually giving you much more loot. There's a few things you have to bring together to really synergize everything and get most drops out of your map. And we're going to talk about that today. What to look for in your atlas, what your rarity stacker should look like, a little bit about what your map should look like, and yeah, how to maximize your profit with friends. Let's jump straight into it. We'll start off with a lightning fast overview of the build. Start then with the passive tree. So as I said, link is in the description. So lightning fast, just to go through this, we are basically focused on one thing, well, two things, and that is our safety and our ability to heal our friends. So we've got all of the energy shield and evasion nodes. Energy shield, energy shield, energy shield evasion, energy shield. More energy shield from our focus, more aura effect and more spirit, more energy shield. And we've got some dual sockets, which we mostly get presence and maximum energy shield. As far as keystones go, there's a couple that we've taken. So we've taken Eternal Youth. This synergizes with Alchemist Spoon, and everyone in the party should be running Eternal Youth. Then you can just run around slamming your potion and healing everyone up, and then you can be a little heal bot. Actually have a button to press. We're CI, so we can ignore a whole amount of damage because squishy. And we have Whispers of Doom, because we run around basically playing Curse support as well. So we're really doing three roles. We're Curse support, heal support, and providing rarity to the group, and keeping ourselves alive. That's the tree. If we have a look at our skills, we've got Orb of Storms. This is mostly so we have something to cast so we can press our mana potion and give our group mana back. We have Blasphemy with Enfeeble in it. This has got Magnified Effect, Ritualistic Curse, and Hexbloom. Blasphemy with Temp Chains in it. This has got Encumbrance and Decaying Hex. Alchemist Boon. This is running with Herbalism for more flask recovery. Alchemist Boon allows our flasks to have 33% of that recovery also affect our allies. Got huge presence range, so anytime we use our flasks, we heal our friends. That's pretty good. Ghost Dance for our own survivability. This has got Cannibalism and Fast Forward. Overwhelming Presence to help break ailment immune maps. And we have a companion as well. I picked a really annoying Quadrilla that all my friends like to shoot at. But this thing is basically providing Elia Resist Aura, otherwise our resistances are pretty bad. You want to get a companion with that. This is running Meat Shield, Loyalty, and Elemental Army. Over to the gear. We have a Scepter. This has got Presence Area of Effect. Really, we should have increased damage for our allies, but we don't have one of those yet. We're going to pick one of those up on the group soon. And then just enough Spirit to fit our auras in. We're running a Ritualist. This is so we can run the 3 rings. We've got a all-res, double rarity Iron Ring, 2 Andavariuses with a 73 and a 75% roll. Gold Amulet, again with 33% rarity and as much elemental resistance as we can. An Alpha's Howl for the double presence. This is rather important. Presence, you can't see the circle when I hover over this because it's way off the screen somewhere. The Focus, providing us resistances and a lot of energy shield. Ingenuity to boost up the rarity from our Anvariuses. Boots with movement speed and increased presence area of effect, although I think we've got so much presence at this point, I would actually rather switch this now at this point to 5% all res. And then Rope Cuffs, which these are the most important thing in the build. Enemies in your presence killed by anyone count as being killed by you instead. Importantly, that is the enemies being in my presence and not the allies being in your presence while they kill. So you actually have to get the enemy in your presence. So the more presence you've got, the more freedom you've got. If we're playing with Lightning Spear, DPS, so they clear off screen. We want as much presence as we can get. That's the build. Nice and simple. You run around pressing your potions and casting Orb of Storm so you can press your mana potion. That's it. Let's talk about the Atlas. Let's talk about maps. Quick one before we go on to the maps. As I said, we are running rough on the resistances. You want to be staying a little bit behind your group and letting them take most of the damage. Your main job is just to dodge stuff though, so don't worry. If you can get your resistances capped, can be done with really good gear and high investment, then I would advise you do that, but don't sacrifice too much presence area for it. Alright, on to the Atlas then, and what you and your group actually want to do. So what we do as our group, we have everyone go out into their Atlases, and we look for setups like this, where we've got 4 towers, at least 4 towers, that cross over each other in a meaningful way. And what we mean is, so all 4 of these towers, for instance, hit this one, and there is actually only one that gets hit by all 4 towers, but nearly all of these nodes would have been hit by at least two towers, preferably 3. And that means that we can get 9 precursor tablets affecting most maps. What does a map look like with 9 precursor tablets affecting it? Well, something like this. This isn't a great one. We haven't got lots and lots of different modifiers, but what we do focus on, you can see there, is increased quantity. That's up to 49% quant. So every tablet that we use will have quant in it, and we're looking for configurations like this, preferably with a nexus in it as well. Ignore the fact that this one is still corrupted. The game decided to crash while we were doing Frozen Falls, where the nexus was, so this got to stay corrupted instead of fractured. Fractured are really good. Fractured monsters absolutely shit out currency, so if you want to be getting a nexus, you want to be clearing that, and you want to be trying to get fractured maps into your setup as well. If you are a rarity colour and you're going to run with someone that don't have a setup like this and they might complain that they don't get as many drops, it really is the quantity that you want to be piling up here. So into a configuration like this, breach tablets, irradiated tablets, and a couple of unique tablets, which we're going to cover over now. And then you will get maps that look like this, and you will have divine explosions that happen all the time. Well, exalt explosions, and you'll get, on average, about a divine a map, and you start to make some pretty good profit. That's running tier 15 maps. So let's go take a look a little bit deeper at the tablets and at the maps that we use, how we're generating currency. Maps and tablets then. So this is our collection of stuff that we collect as a guild. We're looking for specific things on a map. In fact, we're looking for one specific line really, and that is increased quantity and increased rarity. If we can get double rarity, that's great. If we can get extra pack size, extra rare monsters, that's great, but this line is the important one. We're stacking up as much quantity as we can, getting all the rarity as we need from the stacker, and working rather well. So look for those lines. You can typically buy these on TFT in bulk, or you can just roll them. We've got hundreds of maps between the 4 of us, so we just keep rolling the maps and putting in what we find. More monster packs, more rarity. Number of rare monsters is very, very good, especially for fractured maps. If you're running fractured maps, you want number of rare monsters, and you want quantity of items and rarity of items. And if you get the other rarity of items, you have the perfect prefixes for a fractured map. Now, looking over at our tablets, typically we are running Breach, Precursor, and Irradiated, although we are going to try some stuff with some Delirium. The important thing we're looking for is either 6 or 7% increased quantity of items, and then as much of a mixture of other suffixes as we can. The more suffixes, the more modifiers you have on a map with the way we have the Atlas set up, which I will go into that, then the more effect of each modifier you get, so we try to stack up as many modifiers. But the really, really important one is that increased quantity of items. We wouldn't put this 4% one, for instance, into a tower without dividing this up to 6 or 7. We just wouldn't waste our time. It really does start to add up across all the maps, so strongly recommend getting those 7s there. In fact, I'd recommend 7s, but sometimes we're lazy and use 6s. So that's the maps. Quantity, rarity, rare monsters, pack size. As few suffixes as you can. You don't really want those, they just make the map harder. So try and avoid these if you can. If you can, Sinistral Alk can go, that's why we have Sinistral Alks here. And that's always useful. For our Delirium, we are wanting to use Paranoia for the extra rare monsters. 2 Paranoias and a Suffering is the best, but that's quite expensive. 3 Paranoias will do. That's how we're setting up our maps. Let's have a look at how we've all got our atlases set up, and I'll talk about the synergy that's coming from there as well. And when we bring all this together, we get nice big loot explosions. I will put a link to a video in the description as well, showing one of our runs from one of the streams. So if you wanted to check out what this actually looks like, then do check out that video. Just come check out a stream. But let's go over the Atlas. And by Atlas, I meant Atlas skills, because we already covered the Atlas earlier and setting up towers there. But let's talk about how this is set up. So what we're not doing with the main body of the tree is setting up for anything random. We're setting up purely for increased effect of explicit modifiers. If this hits the quant, that takes our 60-70% quant 120%. I think the highest we've seen was like a % quant or something. It really does start to magnify up when you've got all of the modifiers. Let's talk about it and where we've gone. Obviously, rarity of items is great. Quantity of items, there are only the 4% here, which we grab. Increased rarity of waystones. I hate the fact that we have to take it, but we do. Increased effect of explicit modifiers. Increased effect of explicit modifiers. Increased quantity of waystones. Another one I hate that we have to take it, but it's in the way. If I had my last 2 points, I'd grab these rarities, by the way. Increased effect of explicit modifiers. For each explicit modifier, this is really important. This is why we're stacking up so many modifiers and trying to go for different modifiers on the different breach and irradiated tablets that we use while maintaining that quantity. So more explicit modifier effect, pack size, but into this, unstable energies. This is the only keystone we're taking. So have a 25% more effect or 25% of prefix or suffix modifiers when opening maps. So if this hits the prefix modifiers, all of a sudden you've got some really juicy stuff. This is why we run with as few suffixes as possible, because if it does hit the suffixes, it doesn't make the map too hard. On the other side, we're going for more rare monsters. They drop all the currency. With more rare monsters, we have to take a little bit of something to get out of the middle, so we take some shrines. Come up and grab all of the explicit modifiers. Come up here, more pack size. Local knowledge is fine. I sometimes go for the pack size, but okay, you can take either of these points to get around. Going up to enigmatic intensification, but also 8% increased effect of precursor tablet explicit modifiers on your maps. We're running lots of tablets, so we've got all of those. 30% increased quantity, that's better rolling. 20% chance for double effect of your precursor tablets on your maps, which can hit all of the quantities, which gets you even more. It all starts to stack up. You can get some really juicy maps. Okay, not every map's going to be juicy, because it's a 20% chance here, it's a 50-50 here. When things come together, things starts to drop. And then finally some more explicit modifiers. If we look, we don't run ritual, we just ignore them. They're too slow. We just ignore them. If they're on the map, it's an accident. For delirium, we take delirium fog, spawns more fracturing mirrors. This spits out loads of extra delirium monsters, including rares. Wastestones in your maps have a 20% chance to have random instilled emotions. Sometimes they can drop with really high delirium. We use those bases to roll good maps sometimes if we get enough of them. Delirium fog dissipates slower. We just take this to path 2. I'm not afraid of you. We nearly always get the delirium bosses, and they go from dropping 12 to like 24 splinters, and it makes clicking that stack that little bit more valuable. Over on the breach, we run with crumbling walls, because having extra breaches is funny. More breach splinters, although honestly we hide everything apart from the big stacks anyway at this point. More there for the rares and the currency, and then more monster density. I like to run clasping hands because of the packs of magic monsters, and the clasped hands actually drop breach splinter stacks that we see. But you could also run sustained siege. It really is up to you there. This will let you clear the breaches a bit faster if your group's a bit slower. Expedition, I haven't done it, but we normally go for the big explosion and that sort of stuff to speed it up. If we don't have the big explosion, we don't even bother running it. So I tend to not run expedition on the maps. If it's there, it's by accident. On the bosses, we want quantity. We have to take this node. I don't want it at all because I don't care about waystones. I like to take essences, but essences or strong boxes is fine. Non-irradiated map areas with map bosses have +1 level. That's good just for keeping the levels up. Map level is better drops, basically. And then areas with map bosses have a 30% chance to contain corruption. Corruption adds more monsters. Corruption adds more difficulty as well as the random modifiers. So try to grab that too. And then obviously the arbiter stuff doesn't count. But that's how we set up our atlas. This synergizes with all of the quantity we stack, which synergizes with the rarity from the rarity stacker to make sure that every rare we kill is dropping a massive collection of currency or a huge number of uniques, allowing us to fish for those tier 0 uniques and fish for those good currency drops. And that's how we are turning a profit here. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this overview of how group rarity stacking works, what you should do, how it synergizes, and honestly, if you're not doing all those things, you're not going to get the benefit out of running a character like this. You do need to be min-maxing the Atlas, and we've tried it without min-maxing. It's disappointing. If you need extra people, sites like TFT, people are always looking for leeches and things there. Join their groups and just stand around at the start of the map or follow them around for XP. So there's people out there. Try and fill your 6-mans. Try and min-max, and you will have a good time. I promise you. Anyway, if you want to see some of this in action, videos in the description, and me and the boys will probably be streaming. So hopefully catch you there. Have a good one.